Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is the lyric, what the world needs now is love. Love and only love, right? So guess what? Guess what, Eden? Guess what? The world doesn't need love. The world doesn't need love because, frankly, the world is love. Who needs love? Who said me? Maria. Okay, Maria. So it's us. I mean, we are not in a shortage of love, folks. We are not in a shortage of love. We may be in a shortage of... Oh, you're going to stay up here with me? Okay. I was like, did I miss something? We're in a shortage of expressing love. That's really what's going on. It's not that love is not here. That's all that there is. We are love. Love is all there is on this entire planet. That's everything that you see is love. Even the things that don't look like love are love, because love is the creative essence of life. That's what love is. That's what Ernest Holmes says love is. He says this. He says, we would do well to listen to our inner voice, for it tells us of a life wonderful in its scope. The great love of the universe must be one with the great law of our being. Love is the divine givingness of life. Love is the divine givingness. So every single thing that is manifesting from love. You cannot find any place on this planet where love is not vibrantly exploding. We just don't recognize it as such. So I loved when Barbara told me she wanted to sing this song, and I looked at the lyrics, and we've heard this song before, and I was like, this is absolutely perfect. Because people need to stop thinking that we need certain things and start understanding that it's actually time for us to be those things we think we need. If we're willing to be what we think we need, it's a game changer. Everything changes. So, a little story. I have been very preoccupied with bringing Sissy Boy to the stage, and it's been a long, long journey. And, when my husband said he wanted to direct it, my first thought was, okay, this will either be divorce or we will really get even closer, if that's even possible. And the latter happened, thank God. And he directed it brilliantly, and he directed me with an iron hand and a very beautiful heart. Which is what you need to do with me. So, and I got that. So we got to Friday night, and Alex, Alex has been a big part of the team. His sound design is just amazing. And so we got to Friday night, and I was backstage in that, I can't tell you, those of you that haven't seen it, but I was backstage dressed in my first costume, and I'm waiting in the wings to come on, and there was this thing happening in my stomach. And I was just like, wow, okay, so what's up here? You're really, and the music's playing, so I know how many minutes I have left before I have to walk on stage, and then start and have like an hour and 50 minutes where I don't stop. And all of a sudden, now Reverend Nancy had sent me an email, and she did a brilliant thing. She sent me an email that basically was me thanking her for helping me because the opening night was so spectacular. So she took me to the next day and wrote this email to me saying, oh, Nancy, it was such a great night last night, and I just flew through this and blah, blah. And I read it right before I went on stage, and I was like, yeah, that's good. And then when I got into the wings, something happened in my stomach, and all of a sudden, I remembered our theme for this month, love, live me up. And I remembered the Rumi quote, I am not a drop in the ocean. I am the ocean in the drop. And I stood back there and I went, let the ocean do this performance. We so quickly go back to a default setting. My default setting as an actor was that I was doing it all. When I used to be just an actor, my belief was that it was James Mellon that came out and entertained you. And it was James Mellon that deserved all the praise and all the bad reviews too. So it was so individually egotistic from the edging God out point that I did not enjoy acting as much as I actually do now. And all these years I've been saying to myself, if I only knew this when I was acting, oh my God, what might have happened? And then I'm standing there going, oh my God, I've said this for years now, and now I'm actually about to do it, and I'm not taking advantage of it. I went back to a default setting of, oh my God, I have to go out there and do all this, I'd better be good, and then I let it go. And I decided to let the wave do the show. And I said, you know what? If you're going to go back to living a drop, you're going to go back to living as the drop and not the ocean, you know what? Good luck to you out there. I did. I was like really coaching myself. I'm saying, good luck, because you're not going to remember some of those words, and you are going to like suddenly go, where am I? And that's what's going to happen. If you're willing to be the drop, go out there and take it all on yourself and be the drop. And I said, no. You know what? It's not easy being the drop. And it is extraordinarily fulfilling being the ocean. To just trust. My life is unfolding perfectly. That's my motto. If my life is unfolding perfectly, Sissy Boy should be unfolding perfectly, because that is part of my life. So this whole month that's before us is our opportunity to live, to let love live us, to get out of the way of thinking, what do I need? What can I get? How can I accomplish this? What can I do? Where are my successes? Get rid of all of that and just remember, as the ocean that you are, that energy of love is a creative force that is living you. Get out of the way of it. Pull into the intersection and get out of the way. And trust and know. So that's our opportunity this month. And it's not, it's not by accident that this entire month I'll be on this stage every Friday and Saturday night. It's just not by accident. And there are moments that I say to myself, why did I think I needed to do this? There really are. And then there are moments when I'm flying through it, and I'm just, there's a moment in a performer's life, and I will say that for an actor, but I believe this is true for every single one of us, whether you are an actor or not. There are moments in your life when you feel life living you. Yes? Can you all identify with that? Moments that just take you or take your breath away, and suddenly you are one with everything, and you're not doing anything, you are just living from that place of doing. Well, that's what I want for all of us. That's what I want for every single person here today, whether you're here or whether you are online. And I do want to say hello to everybody who's online. We have so many people joining us on Sunday mornings now from all over the country, and I am so grateful for that. But we get to literally spread our wings and be willing to let love live us. And so this opportunity this month really puts you in the driver's seat. Just continue with this analogy. Puts you in the driver's seat, but recognizing, as Barbara said to me, you may be in the driver's seat, but there's an engine moving the car. You are not having to move the car physically. You just have to drive it. You just have to direct it. And that's what love is. Love is this force, this force that is sweeping through you. And if you're willing to let it drive you, you then get to direct it and say, put it here, pal, or put it here, or put it here. That's the great power we have to live. So, love lives me up. And remember, when you go to up, you're talking about unlimited potential. Unlimited pure potential, unlimited possibility, the unlimited power of the universe. Love lives me up to that highest place that I could live at. And I got to tell you this too, because I loved what Karen said. You get to live it at all times, not just here on a Sunday morning. You must begin to infuse everything you learn here, everything you understand about this teaching and this philosophy, more importantly, everything you learn about who you truly are, you must be willing to take that into every single aspect of your life. You can't compartmentalize this and go, well, on Sundays I'm going to be spiritual and lovely, and everybody just has a lovely time. We're so full of love here. And then on Monday be like, bah! Right? You just can't do that. Now, you can, but life can be really, really difficult that way. It is about and I love that you said that. It is about, you could sit up here every time with me, that's perfect. It is about the intersection. Are you willing to bring it everywhere? Because there was a time in my life that I would have been on stage doing a show like Sissy Boy and not think it was part of my spiritual life. But it really is. And last night, in closing, Dr. Walker's husband was in the audience. And he came up to me after the service, Cooper Neal, after the service. It was a service. I was giving a great service. And he just hugged me and had tears in his eyes, and he just said, David would be so proud of you. And he said, you know, for years he would talk to me about how he just didn't understand how you could keep doing theater and create the ministry that we knew you could create. He said, and of course, you've done both. He said, but what I really understood tonight was, you don't do both. You just do one thing. And I was just like verklempt. Is that the right word? Verklempt. I was just a gush. And it was beautiful. And that's really the lesson that I get to learn, I get to live, I get to show, and we all get to experience together. As I do it, as Nada does it, as David does it, as we all do it, as Rita does it so beautifully. Incorporating all of this into one thing. So here's a great month, here's a great opportunity for us all to let love live us in every aspect of our life. Our relationships, our money, our finances, right? Our health, and our creativity. It's all on the same table. You just get to eat whatever you want from that table at the moment you decide to eat it, but it's all the same food. It's all spiritual. So, I get to do something today that I don't really get to do very often, which is share the stage and turn this talk over to a colleague. And Reverend Rita Andriello has come through this center, through practitioner, through ministerial, and of course now as one of the co-founders of the Center for Spiritual Living in Kauai. And as I'm right on the heels of sending another group of ministers into their ministry, it's just so breathtaking to me. I just came back from Kauai a couple weeks ago for their ordination. It's so amazing to me to watch what this woman is doing. I can stand up here and talk about the integration of all of what we are as God into every aspect of our life. And I think I do a pretty good job at living it too. But this woman does an exemplary job at living it. I never hear anything come out of her that is not love, that is not principle, and that is not grounded in truth. So we are very privileged and honored today to get to hear words of wisdom from Reverend Rita Andriello.
Thank you. She thinks I'm singing first, but I'm not. I'm doing the second. Yeah, you know. Okay.
You just called me up.
Okay. All right. I love that she's up here because you're love. So I'm glad that love is backing me up today. So, I'm Rita Andriello Farron, and I am the co-founder and co-spiritual director of Center for Spiritual Living Kauai. And for those of you who don't know me, I just want to say that I grew up in this center and that you're in a really amazing place. And I hope and trust and know and invite you all to take that opportunity to grow up like I did here and to find your path, whatever that is. And I know that this is an amazing foundation for you being here with Reverend James and the staff here. It's just where I grew up, and I'm so grateful, ever, ever grateful. And so I wanted to bring a little bit of Kauai to you. We went there 3 years ago, and my husband and I didn't know anybody. We just knew principle. That's all we knew, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. But we have a tradition there when we start our services, and I wanted to do it with you because you are our sister brother center, as Jonathan Zenz is in Toronto. They call us their sister center, the three of us. So, and we share together. So I wanted to share what we do at the beginning of our service, and I would like to know who's here for the first time. All right. Okay, so what I want to tell you is, and what we would all tell you from Kauai is, you are magnificent. Oh, I've got some, okay. And then everybody would say it to them. So why don't you all say it to them? You are magnificent. And we can't say that to another person unless we can say it to ourselves. So then we would put our hands on our hearts and we would say, I am magnificent. And then we get to turn to somebody next to us and tell them the same thing. So magnificent. And the whole place goes crazy, and then my husband has to go back to me, back to me, back to me every time. So that's the way we start our services, that we do it every Sunday because we need to be reminded of that. That is the most important thing in our teaching, is to remember who we are and to consistently and persevere in that principle that we are magnificent, that we are the presence and power of God, that we are that I am. And that's what our whole ministry is about. So a couple of weeks ago, I guess maybe it was last week, I don't know, I've lost all time since I've been here. A couple of weeks ago, we got a call from a center in one of the big cities on the East Coast, and they had seen one of our videos of when we put together, we just moved into a new space, and in 18 days, basically, we raised all the funds that we needed to open the doors, because we had nothing. And anyway, so we put this little video together. Maybe some of you have seen it. And it was set to Daniel Nahmad's song, Everything New. And it went out on Facebook, which is the most fabulous thing in the whole world. That is God, Facebook. I just love Facebook. Anyway, and these people had watched it, and they had gotten very inspired by it, and they were getting ready to do the same thing. So they called us on the phone and said, "Can we talk to you about it? We played your video for our congregation, and we're very inspired by it, and we're nervous because we have to go find a space now for our center to grow." And so we called and talked, and we went through everything that we had done, like all the things in the world of form, right? And then at the end, he said, "Well, do you have some formula? Do you have something written down that you can give us?" And we thought about it, and we said, there is a formula. It's called principle. It's called love and law. That's the formula. And it works, like so many people have said today, Karen and Reverend James. That is the thing we have to rely on. So my talk is called Step Out, right? Well, sometimes we step out into intersections and all kinds of things, not knowing who we are. And so, I've done that in my life. I came to Los Angeles to be an actress. And I went all over the place, going crazy, trying to get parts and doing all that stuff that actors do, and being nervous at auditions and shaking and all this kind of stuff. And I was stepping out, but who was I stepping out as? Not somebody who knew who they were, right? So how many times do we step out before that? So what I say is the first thing you have to do before you step out is you have to step back. And you have to look at what you're looking at, because what you're looking at is your consciousness. Your life is your consciousness. And yet, you're looking at something that's liquid. You're looking at something, I always say, everything is spirit, so nothing is ever the same, ever. It changes. That's the great thing. This is a science. So you look out and you see something that you don't like or that you don't want to have in your life anymore. You step back and look at it, and you look at it from a higher point of view. And you say, it doesn't have to stay this way. I can change it because I am the one driving the car, right? So the only way you can change it is by stepping up first, which is what we're talking about today too. Remembering who we are, remembering our divine self, remembering that we are unlimited potential in every moment, that everything is always changing, and that if we can get back to first cause, to that place that when we're looking out and we're seeing stuff that's in that finite world, and we're looking and we're saying that's reality. Well, yeah, it's reality, and you have to look at it, but there's a higher point of view to look at it from. And as we step up into that higher point of view and remember who we are, then we've got something to work with. Then we can face anything, no matter what it is. And we don't change that. We change this, our consciousness. Consciousness in this teaching is not our brains and our minds, it's our awareness. We change our awareness about it and about ourselves, and we start there. then from that place, we can start stepping out. And we can start stepping out from right where we are. Ernest Holmes tells us that we can't go any further than where we are, right? We can't go over there and say, well, I'm going to go start a center in Kauai if we're not ready to start that center in Kauai or whatever your Kauai is. We have to start from where we are. And we have to test it. It's a science. We have to start experimenting with it. Patrick and I call it our laboratory. And we can't be afraid to just take little steps and to use it and to practice our faith, because it takes practice for us to practice our faith, but a little bit at a time. Don't start further than what you are. Just do it from where you are a little bit at a time and start to trust it. Start to practice your faith. You have faith. Faith is not something that is some kind of gift. We all have faith. It's a matter of how we're going to use it. Does that make sense? We're going to use it against ourselves. We're going to use it to, through worry. We're going to have faith in that everything isn't going to work out, or we're going to have faith that everything is working out. So start practicing your faith in little ways, and a little bit at a time, and a little bit at a time, and a little bit at a time. And things start to get better and better and better. That's what happened to me. I didn't start, being this minister. I started as this little, nothing person who, no, I was never a nothing person, but this little person who thought she was going to be this big thing, but she wasn't ready to be it, to standing in principle and knowing now that I can really do anything that I want to do if I set my mind to it, if I let love lead the way and know that the law makes everything possible. The law, that's the other thing. We think we're doing it. We're not doing it. Get it out of your head that you're doing it. You're not getting your illnesses out of the way and getting more money and all that stuff. You're not doing that. You're remembering who you are, and then you're trusting that the law is going to make it possible, that makes it possible. Just recently, we found out that we had to move out of our house. Well, we knew we were moving out, but we were kind of in denial. So, we really like the house we're in, and we've been kind of in transition since we've been there. We've been kind of like gypsies, going from one place to the other, because we just were so focused on the center, and we always got beautiful houses no matter where we went. We have the most gorgeous houses, and they just kept getting better and better and better. And so the house that we were in sold. So, okay, here we are. And we've got 30 days to get out, right? So I was leaving on the 6th, 4th, 5th, whenever it was. I was leaving on the 4th, and this was a couple of weeks ago. And my husband and I said to each other, before you get on that plane, we're having a house. We're going to have a house. Before you get on the plane, we're going to know where we're going to be. Now, nothing, I'm going to tell you, you ever go on Craigslist and look for a house? I mean, Craigslist is the reality I was talking about. You look at it and you can really get stuck in that and see that nothing's out there. But what you have to know when you're demonstrating something is that it can come from anywhere. It can come from anywhere. Don't put it in any one particular thing, because it comes from all over the place. You just don't even know. Like Ernest Holmes said, if it has to come from the deepest, darkest part of the world or furthest part of the globe, it's going to come, because it can come from anywhere. So get out of the house. And anyway, so I got on the plane on the 4th, and we have a house. So, yeah, I mean, but let me tell you, there weren't times when I didn't have doubt. There weren't times when I didn't, think it was all going to turn out. I had those little setbacks, but now I get back on them faster. And you know why? Because we have another tool that we get to use that is the most powerful tool that the world doesn't really know about, and everybody needs to start using it, and it's called spiritual mind treatment. And the more you use it, the better you get at it, and the more you increase your faith. Because spiritual mind treatment, all it's about is changing your consciousness and directing that law in the direction that you want to go. And the first thing you do, it's easy. Everybody can do it, all right? All you have to do, first step, you have to remember you have to recognize that there's only one thing happening at all times. There's only one power. There's only one energy. There's only one source. It's everywhere, and it's all its totality. It's the ocean in a drop everywhere. It's omnipresent. So if it's everywhere, it has to be in me, right? So I am that power, that energy, that source. I am, as Reverend James said, I am that ocean in a drop. I don't even like to say, we call it unification. I don't call it unification because if that makes it makes it sound like there's something outside of myself that I'm like, doing this with. So I like to call it, I am. I am that thing. I am that source. I am that power. And I'm naming all the great things it is. And what's the next thing? Then we get from that place to say, I am this, so this is what I am having right now. This is what I'm having. I'm having a new home. I'm having the most perfect job. I'm expressing my creativity in all amazing ways. I'm having that because I am that. We can't have something we can't become. It has to start with a feeling. Ernest Holmes says this is a universe of feeling. That's why passion is so important behind anything you're doing. If you're doing something that you're not passionate about, it must not be yours to do. You have somebody else's job, Patrick always says. Really. So, yeah. So it's a universe of passion and feeling. So you've got to get that feeling behind your declaration and what you're saying and what you know that you are. And then you get to say thank you, because I already have it. I have my beautiful home. It's gorgeous. I know it. I'm so grateful for this thing that I have right now. It's so amazing. Thank you. And you're filled with such gratitude. And then the hardest part, you got to let it go. There was a practitioner here in the center that I studied, but I can't remember who it was. And she used to say, get your grubby hands off it. Do you remember that? We want to get our grubby hands on everything. We want to plot it out, how we're going to do it. And like I said before, you don't know. You don't know where it's going to come from. That house came from somebody that just said, I was in at the Hoku food market, and I met this lady, and she told me that somebody wants that she needs somebody to watch her house. She needs somebody to live in her house. And there it was. So you just don't even know. Oh, this is funny. I got to tell you this. You don't know. There's a traffic circle in Kauai that goes around, and it takes you over to the bypass, and it takes you over here and there. Anyway, so you go around the traffic circle. Everybody knows, right? Patrick and I are in the traffic circle, and then all of a sudden, we see the 70, she had to be at least 70, running across the grass. Everybody stopped because there's a lot of traffic, and she's running toward our car. She's just running, and I'm like, who is that? Patrick goes, roll down your window, turn the window, roll down your window. We have roll down windows, if you can believe that, but that's another talk. Anyway, and she runs over to the car, and she goes, you're religious science, aren't you? And I go, yes, we are. Where are you? And we had a sign on our car. That's how she knew we were Center for Spiritual Living. So we told her, and her husband must have said, go find out where those people are. So then she found out where we were like looking for a business card, and we're handing it to her. Still, the traffic is still stopped. And then she's like, thank you. And she ran back across the grass. I was afraid she was going to fall. I was scared. But she was... Anyway, but she didn't know where it was going to come from, but she obviously was looking for something, and she found it on the traffic circle. And so, right? I know. There was another girl on the bus that one of our congregants was reading the Science of Mind textbook on the bus, and some girl was sitting there. She had just gotten on the island, and she's like, what is that? And he's explaining it to her. It's the Science of Mind, blah, blah. She goes, wow. That sounds like something I could believe in, it sounds like what I do believe in. And he goes, there it is. It's right over there. There's a center for, it's called Center for Spiritual Living. And she came to our center. This is the way we find, it's like amazing what happens if you just get out of the way. That's how our whole congregation has grown, was just by getting out of the way and just being passionate. So when that guy asked us, what's the formula? The formula is principle, backed by passion. And then getting out and doing it, like Karen said, just get out there and just start to work it. So I take hula. I have a halau, and I took a little hiatus this month because I was so busy with the sacred journey that we just did. Did you all have to come on? Jonathan said he's bringing 21 people with him next time, so it'll be sold out pretty soon. Anyway, but you can talk to me about that if you want later. But anyway, I'm in a halau, and it's a hula group, and my hula sisters. And one of the things is when you're asked to dance, you have to dance. You're not allowed to say no. In fact, you're supposed to dance. That's like the whole thing about it. And I'm a beginner. And one of the wonderful things about being a beginner is when they introduce you to dance at these little things they have, is they tell everybody you're a beginner. So, so everybody, you know, they are very forgiving and they're very loving and they're very supportive. And you just venture out and you do your hula and they applaud. But you know what? That's like life. When you take the chance and you step out, that law is like those people that are saying, go ahead, go do it. I say yes to you. I support you. I say yes. And it's just an amazing thing. This teaching is an amazing, amazing thing. It's the best kept secret. But it's not a secret anymore, because before they throw me in the ocean, because that's where I'm going when I leave here, before they throw me in the ocean, I'm going to make sure as many people as possible know about this teaching and know that they are God. It's the answer.
Yeah.
It's the answer to everything. It's the answer. Because all these things that are happening in the world of form would not be happening if people knew who and what they were. And I don't know what the next step is, but I know that's the step right now that we all need to take. So it's got to start here, right? It's got to start here. So I'm going to give you a little bit more of Kauai.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to step out.
I like what she's having.
Yeah. And I'm going to share this beautiful thing with you. And Karen is so graceful to sing it for me.
There's an island across the sea, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, and it's calling, calling to me. Beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai. In the midst of Fern Grotto, Mother Nature made her home, and the falls of Wailua, where lovers often roam. So I'll return to my island across the sea, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai. In the midst of the Fern Grotto, Mother Nature made her home, and the falls of Wailua, where lovers often roam. So I'll return to my island across the sea, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai, beautiful Kauai.
Reverend Rita Andriello.
Thank you, my
Karen
love.
Mitchell.
Thank you. Oh.